Alright, hello, I am Elrock617 here with a submission video for the arcade Konami classic Metamorphic Force. I'm not really actually sure how well this game is known. It was stuck dormant in arcades for the better part of over 30 years, but let's go a little bit in the more recent history. I started running this game as a 1cc back in 2018, and as mentioned, it had to just remain online because it was arcade only. But this past October, Arcade Archives released it for more modern consoles like the PS4, the Switch, and I believe the Xbox One. And this run I have exhibited here was performed on the PS4. So one thing I'm going to do, I want to go ahead and hit play so I can show the character select screen. Okay. Anyway, there are three versions of this game, only two of which are utilized within speedrunning. The first is the US version, which is used for the any percent run. Any percent involves credit feeding. In the US version, you actually have a gauntlet-style health system that counts down from, a numeric total. Like, I think you can max it all the way to, 999 and just refill your health as you go. Minimal mistakes. Get there fast. For the 1cc category, we play the Japanese version, which is what I'm playing here. This has a more standardized health system. You have 2 lives, no way to extend. You do have ways to gain health, but you can't get extra lives. And that's what we're running here, because for a 1cc category, we don't want to have a gauntlet-style health system because that drains our health as time goes, and we'd have to just fight the clock. It is possible to 1cc the US version of the game, but it's very, very difficult. But for the 1cc for the speedrun purposes, we are definitely playing the Japanese version. Now, for the premise of this game, the idea behind it is, what if Konami made Altered Beast? You've got 4 characters, all of who have human forms, and then transform into their beast forms, and you want to stay there as long as you can, because all beast forms are overpowered. You've got Bon on the left, who's the bull, Claude to his right, who's the wolf, Ivan on the far right, who's the bear, and then our character, the third we have here highlighted, which is Max. Max is the panther, and he is the best character in the game for speed game purposes. I debated submitting a character donation bid war, but Max is just so much faster than the other characters. I haven't even seen an actual speedrun of Claude or Bon. There is at least one runner who has a significantly strong time with Ivan, but for the purpose of actual speed gaming, Max just has the most interesting strats to show off. So we'll go ahead and hit play. This, I believe, was recorded this past week. So we start off the game in human form. No, this game has amazing music. Can't forget that part. So we're moving primarily for the use of our jump kick, even in human form. We're going to be using this Flurry of Fist attack to take out enemies at first, because it's a really good one-shot. It requires pressing both buttons, but it does drain health. In most beat-em-ups, this is known as what's called an Extra Joy, Super Crash. There's a number of names for it. Here we get our first statue. We go ahead and evolve into our panther form. This is when we get to be really, really good, because not only does our drop kick get better, we also get access to throw setups. Can't do this in human form. We're gonna go all the way to the right. Unfortunately, we lost our helper there, but we'll see him again later. Gonna have these golden orbs drop. Can also call out orbs as they show up. That'll be fun for a meme. First stage is pretty short. We're just tunneling our way through enemies. Make sure to take them out, do it quickly as possible. These guys are going to drop one Super Joy, which again does cost health, but we're going to be utilizing it a lot because the Extra Joy is the most powerful attack in the game. I only use it on bosses and when in sticky situations, but it's really, really good when you want it. So our first boss is the Goat. All the bosses say stuff when the fight starts. He's the only one that actually gets to say anything except for the final boss, because you have to pause the cutscene. That's also something of a meme. Because here we're just timing our Super Joys with his wake up and we get to kill him in 5 cycles. Pretty good method of deletion. So our helper that we see routinely throughout the game will drop off random power-ups. Could be health, could be a statue, could be a score item. We don't want those, but you see them sometimes. That'll clear our first stage. Takes a little bit less than 2 minutes. On to stage 2. So stage 2 is pretty sweet. We get a couple of first-time enemies, one of which are these hedgehogs, which I call Sonics, because not only are they blue, but they also have a spinball attack. Like, they actually can just launch themselves across the screen in a cannonball formation. I'm trying to hit both of them, but I managed to get the one behind me. It's fine. You guys are going to drop torches. We're going to drop kick again. So the reason Max is so good is because his drop kick, the little low one you see to the ground, that actually hits enemies while they're grounded. So it not only does a really good job of grouping enemies, it also just adds up damage. This is going to be a donation segment because this is an auto-scroller. We're just going to be taking care of enemies beat-em-up style. It does have some additional flavor for Konami because there's a Gradius stage going on in the background, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, this will be just strictly time for dono reading. Get our helper, get a statue. I do try to keep one statue for the end, which is right after those 3 Headhawks in their demise. These guys board, statue up, take care of them. Didn't want that grab, but we can work with it. These guys over here, taking a couple more guys here. We saw a couple of these guys with swords in the first stage. They're actually pretty dangerous. Can't remember if I get this set up here. Did not. So I had to Super Joy to take that guy out. Those ogres you see there are actually pretty threatening. They have a 1-frame jab that can not only contend with your jab at closer ranges, it also can just anti-air your jump kick, so they're always a threat. Under our stage 2 boss, this is a bird who wears a flaming loincloth, which is pretty amazing. We don't go for Super Joys on him because it's actually not safe. What I do for him is let him get up, move out of the way, walk back in, do a grab setup, put him in the corner, just try to go again. We're hoping to do this the whole fight, but randomly he can break out of it. That's one way he can do it. He did that as just a defensive tool because I tried to approach him and he didn't want that. So to make sure that he didn't get back up and do that again, I just grabbed the statue and finished him off. I forgot to mention this before, but when you're in beast form and you grab a statue, it unleashes an attack that covers the whole screen and does a lot of damage. It one-shots all basic enemies and it does a lot of damage to bosses. It looks a lot like Nightcrawler's teleport from X-Men Arcade, but it's really good when you can use it. So after stages 2 and 4, we have a quick bonus stage. This will also be a good time for donations. This is not a bonus stage we can skip. It's actually faster to complete it. What we have here is a stone mural of the face of the final boss. Didn't want that jab there. I just want all drop kicks until we get to the end. We're just gonna go to the other side, do it again. Statues actually don't make this go faster. Every drop kick does 2 hits, so you're better off just churning out DPS this way. Finished with 12 on the clock, very good. 11's consistently what I hit, but 12 happens sometimes. It's pretty cool. Anyway, that'll move us on to stage 3. This is where the difficulty of the game really begins. It's also where we're going to be able to show off both optimal and non-optimal boss fights. So we have a new enemy. The orcs are back, but they have weapons now. Hammers actually aren't as threatening as fists, which is strange. These elephant enemies are pretty obnoxious if we let them be. Our dive kick is really, really good against them, as you can see. We let this guy get up, set up all these guys right there. Those ice pillars that they fall in do damage, so I'm not trying to get hit by those. Throw this guy off the cliff. So I missed a grab attempt, but I shortcutted it with a Super Joy. This is our boss, who I just called Megatron for obvious reasons. He unleashes this bug swarm. We take care of that very quickly with some drop kicks. And move on. This part's kind of tricky. You want to see if you can get the laser to come out in time to be able to hit the lizards. Doesn't always work because I believe the laser is cyclical based. From here, what I'm hoping for is a statue. So our helper's gonna, if we're on time well enough, we're gonna be able to drop a statue, take care of all those enemies. We have one more wave of enemies for our boss. Ideally, I'd like to be at full health for this boss fight, but it's not necessary. I'll be able to at least show off reasons why full health is good and why you don't actually need it to be good. So this boss is one of the hardest in the game for speedrun purposes. He's very random. He can just randomly gain iframes, like right there. I tried to dropkick through him, and he just decided, no, I'm gonna go invincible and take a swing at you instead. So once we get him in the corner, we're gonna try and spend health and Super Joy him like we did our first boss. But unfortunately, I dropped an input. So from here, I kind of had to get creative. And I was actually really happy that I was able to, because with this guy being as random as he is, being able to have creativity work out is pretty great. But the ultimate goal, regardless of how we're doing damage to him, is we just want to keep him in the corner. Which actually, spoiler, I actually did manage to mess up here as well. Keep him there. Here's where I have to start kind of making some guesswork. I'm not trying to spend more meter, because if you lose all your meter at the bottom, you turn back into human form like I did there. We didn't lose a life, but luckily our helper dropped in their statue for us to be able to finish him off. That wasn't optimal. In fact, I lost, in comparing this to my PB at the time, I actually lost quite a bit of time in this stage, mostly because of that fight, but it was execution issues. Things happen. Sometimes it's better than other times, and it was still a good fight. It was a fight we needed it to be. We didn't die. We got what we needed out of him. Can't really complain. On to stage 4, more fantastic music, very Tolkien here. We got these new frog enemies. These guys are pretty annoying when they're in groups. Use a quick statue. That statue there is actually a really lucky item drop. We're gonna have more enemies pop out of trees. Take them out. If we were to do more beat 'em up stuff, this might be good for donation time. I'm not really sure. I kind of have to set up these trees. I may ask for a little bit of quiet time there before moving on to fight these lizards. But it's business as usual until we get to a mid-boss. This is the first of 2 stages out of 6 that has a mid-boss fight. I was hoping for a helper to be able to drop there. See, he jabbed us before I could even do anything to him, and that's when he's at his most degenerate. You want to try to hit that guy on the Z-axis. Managed to get a throw set up on him. So this fight was weird. The trolls, I actually prefer to position against the wall, but I had the statue, so I'm going to see if it would actually do anything. Wasn't able to get anything good out of it, but this is how you want the fight to normally go. Just put them against the wall. When they get up, do a drop kick, put them back down, and then just OTG. It actually does more damage to do the scratching and clawing attack than it does to drop kick them on the ground. The purpose of OTGing with a drop kick is for crowd control. If any enemies are up, you want to put them back on the floor. So under our second half of the stage, another banger of a music track. This part's actually kind of tricky. Keeping all of these orcs down at the same time is actually something that they are able to mitigate very, very well, but I was able to actually pull it out there. They weren't really that disruptive, so I consider myself very lucky there. Similar to stage 3, this is another stage where we kind of want the, that was unfortunate. We kind of want the health to be able to carry us to the end of the stage. Back to our frogs, this time in a more traditional color. Got these logs that drop that are all going to drop energy, which I'm very, very happy about. This is how we are going to do our best to be able to carry full health through the end of the stage. Got 5 that spawn here. We only have to fight 4 at a time. We'll throw him over there for the setup. After you kill one pops back over, you knock him down and finish him off like the rest. And then another group of 5. Turn your way back around, do this again. As mentioned before, the crowd control, as you can see, is quite strong here. Any enemies that pop in, it just takes them right back out. Another couple groups of enemies here. Nice useful back attack there. Back attack does have some uses. I was really upset I didn't get to use the statue here, but we turned out okay. I thought I positioned that a little bit better, but it turns out. So here's our stage 4 boss. I refer to him as Shaq because he's really tall and he wears Laker colors. So first thing we do is knock him down. It's similar to the robot from the last stage. We're going to put him against the wall. As soon as he gets up, Super Joy, strike the ground, put him down again. Does really good damage. We ideally want this to happen for the whole fight. We want to be able to just plug and chug, throw hands when we can. The one thing we're relying on in terms of RNG is our little helper friend there. What item he drops and where he drops it actually matters a lot. That was an execution drop, unfortunately. So that did cost me some health that I can't use for Super Joy. So getting down to about here, this is where we can utilize the safe strat. We get up, we drop kick away, he tries to chase us with an elbow drop, and then we're able to hit him while he's on the ground. And then we can just do this until he's gone. And here I just kind of took the low road and the easy way out, just grab a statue and finish him off from there. Then I'll finish off our stage 4 boss. This guy, if you're not speedrunning, is actually really aggravating because that little safe strat I did where you get him to try to jump on you, you had to do it pretty much the whole fight. Thankfully, we're in the fast way to do it with a lot more fun. So we have another bonus stage after this stage. One of 2 things is going to happen here. I got lucky enough to have full health at the end of the stage, so I just get to skip the bonus stage, which I'll show here. If we don't finish the last stage with full health, we actually have to take out some of these items and enemies that are in this stage, because only that way we're going to be able to recover full health. You're not guaranteed full health at the end of the stage, so you kind of just have to take it as you can. Start at the bottom, go to the top, and you want to hold to the right because that makes you despawn faster once you're done. Like so. And since we didn't hit anything, it's an immediate frame count and we're out. So, little trivial fact, stage 5 in the US version of this game is actually a boss rush, which is pretty mean. Very, very mean. You fight all 4 of the previous 4 bosses along with a brand new boss. In the Japanese version, which we're playing, we only have to fight the new boss. She has a really nice tail. She also has a really nice strat. We just get to put her on the ground, and what we do is we stand parallel to her, either top or bottom, let her flip away, and then we chase her with a drop kick, put her on the ground, and then just scratch and claw her away. It takes a number of cycles, but it is the most effective strat, both in terms of speed and in terms of damage. Super Joy really isn't that great against her. She has ways of like dealing with it. She can just kind of respond to it. She has attacks really fast. Like she has a really fast kick, for example. She can avoid it by doing a jumping cannonball attack, which is really hard to beat. So it's better just to keep her on the ground and do this. There is a chance this segment could be okay for donation reading, because the strat's it's kind of push and pull. You're kind of doing the same thing for a good couple minutes or so. But it's also one where you kind of need to focus, so we can play it by ear. Once you get down to this, that's where I kind of want to make sure I'm not spending too much time on her. Her wake-up gets a lot more dangerous when she's low on health. She has a wake-up command grab that's very, very powerful, so I try to do less hits to her as she gets lower in health and she starts flashing blue and everything. That finishes off stage 5. Get some health back. Ideally, we want to do that stage perfectly, and that was a perfect fight. It could probably be a little bit faster. She wasn't very cooperative on some of those flips, but still worked out. Alright, on to our last stage. This is by far the longest stage, and a good difficulty perk. Like, the difficulty scales really well to this stage. Here we have a new enemy. I didn't Z-axis correctly around him. These guys are really hard to deal with. They have 4 arms, they have really good attacks, they have a grab they can anti-air you with, which can just actually just beat your drop kick. They're really strong. So the less I have to deal with them, the better off we're gonna be. We've got some really cool church music to play us out here. There's a big stained glass theme with this stage. Had a little bit of some execution problems there. Try to take care of this guy. I thought I had him already. I thought that would have taken care of him. We're gonna drop the pillars anyway. That was supposed to be a Super Joy, but just got drop kicked instead. So I'm gonna lead all the way over to this section. This is where we're gonna fight our mid-boss. This dude who looks like Skeletor. And this is gonna be almost a repeat of the stage 2 boss. We bait out his wake up, which is that big sword slash you see there. Didn't want the statue to happen, or rather kept that, but that was just unfortunate positioning. But anyway, yeah, we bait the wake up, we walk up to him, we grab him, and we knock him back down. And that's how we finish him off. He actually has good answers to Super Joy, just like the stage 2 boss does, so grab loops are the best way to go. And this is one where I'll definitely want to maintain focus. You don't want to miss any of these. I've definitely made the mistake of going back in for the grab too soon and get hit by the wake up, and that sword slash does a lot of damage. It doesn't look like it would, but it definitely does. Didn't want that statue to happen there either, so I'm gonna wait this one out. Bait one more. Alright, there we go. I can't talk enough about how good the music in this game is. It's so good. Like, metal one moment, choral the next. So because Konami beat him up, here we have an elevator segment. This one goes on for a bit. It's about a minute and a half. So I think this is going to be good for donation time. All we're doing is we're fighting enemies. We want to have statues to use on the Goro enemies, the 4-armed enemies that show up as they appear. But other than that, it's just business as usual. Once they pop off the elevator, grab a statue. Ideally, we want to have 2 for the end of it, because there's going to be one more group of those enemies, and there's another group of enemies at the top of the elevator that we want to just take care of in one fell swoop. It's better to try to take out the enemies that scale the walls, but if you can have both and have your cake and eat it too, more power to you. But we know what to prioritize. Trying to run the gamut against these guys is just too much of a risk. It's one of those cases where, like, if you get the drop on them, you're good to go, but there's no guarantee of that. Get some of our health back. Okay, so we've got another laser segment. This is going to be the final floor to tackle through. Luckily, I got those there. That does showcase a good amount of how the RNG works in this game. Enemies have very random movement. There's no discernment over where enemies go as they appear on screen. I did not want to get hit by those. I'll show you that. So, like, if a lizard appears on screen, he might go up, he might go down. You only want him to go in one direction. So if he goes in the opposite direction, you weren't prepared for it, you lose time. That's the challenge factor of this game for sure. If you're trying to, like, you know, set PBs or whatever. Anyway, the final run up to our final boss is just all the stuff we've dealt with up to this point. We have a couple more orcs that I'd rather not have to deal with, but I always prioritize taking them out first. Like that. Got one more health item. Didn't want that guy to still be alive, but I prioritize getting the health. I probably wouldn't in the future. Take him out, go to the bottom pixel, then walk forward to our boss. So the boss's name is Death Shadow.
Great, you made it here.
His theme goes pretty hard. It's a 3-phase fight. Technically 2.5. You want to be really technical about it. First phase is actually the hardest because if you're lined up with him, like if you're in his line of sight, he has a number of different attacks he can do, like that uppercut you saw there. But if you attack him on the Z-axis and he's moving, then you're able to hit him. So what I'm trying to do is just stay above or below him and make sure he comes to me and I can tag him. So when he hit me with that uppercut, that was just a missed opportunity. Like, I tried it and he was too close, and stuff happens. Still going for it regardless. I also want to try and get over there as quickly as I can, because if he gets up super quickly, we actually don't get good damage capita on him. Sometimes you get to grab him, not consistently, but if it works, great. You get good damage off of that, and you get good Oki opportunities. Oki being Okizeme, it just means you attack the guy on the ground. So now that we've defeated this form of Prince Adam, he goes through his real transformation, because he has a beast form just like the rest of us. What's really cool is that his beast form is actually Trogdor, who wants to burninate the countryside. This fight's actually a bit easier, even though it doesn't seem like it would be. You're still hitting him off axis, but he's so much slower that being able to make sure that he lines up with you means you just get a lot more reps of this. So we're just 3-hit comboing him right when he tries to line up with us. That was unfortunate. He got a little bit closer than I would have liked for him to be. Don't want it to happen, but it happens sometimes. So when he takes flight, we're actually going to go with a drop kick here. I can just pin him against the wall and hit him twice per round. We only want to have one statue for the end, but I'll use that one there just to make sure that I can get good damage on them. They do a lot more damage than anything else I'm doing, but you want to save them for a reason. Come up here. That'll finish off the second form. So, I'm not gonna lie, this is where the, because of what happened here, I almost didn't submit this run, because I was really unhappy with how the third phase went. This shouldn't go this way, but I got really greedy. I really wanted a deathless run, and if the last form, this giant orb, is close enough to you, you can one-shot it with a statue. But because I didn't get it, he got to get loose, you got to start doing stuff like this. Made mistakes, that should have been Super Joy, that put me in human form. He either got to do that on my wake up and I died. So now that he's back, we're just gonna do this until he's gone. Shouldn't have died, should have known better. I laughed about it, it was stupid, but, that's speedrunning sometimes. This game is so good. I legitimately do love this game and hope it does get to be showcased. And as mentioned, my PB the day before I recorded this run was a 2037. So even though there were some slower stages, like stage 3, this still ended up being a PB because the last half was so strong. And that's Metamorphic Force. It's a pretty solid entry in the history of Konami beat-em-ups. One of their better ones that's their own license, maybe their actual best. You could argue between that and Violent Storm. It's pretty close. I like both quite a bit, but this game is one we have access to, and the speedrun's really fun. We get this cool, big, epic ending. We're going to see all the devs' faces. I always love it when they do stuff like that. Our characters are all back in human form now, so we get to see their super hot faces. How garishly daunting and handsome these gentlemen are. And there's our boy Max. I believe every character in this game utilizes a different fighting style. Max's is boxing. Like, put the gloves on and put up your dukes and whatnot. Claude's fencing. I forget Bond's. I think it's like a form of sumo, maybe. And then Ivan's is actual wrestling. As a bear, he can do like body slams and DDTs and stuff. He's wild. Power Rangers ending, because why not? The lore of what's going on here is this queen was resurrected because Death Shadow was acting up. Summoned the 4 spirits of these animals and gave all their powers to these 4 humans. Yeah, really cool ending. Very astral. Great, like I mentioned, great music. It's a solid game, and I think as a speed run, it actually might be my second favorite Konami beat 'em up, only behind the Japanese version of Simpsons. And it pulls its weight. It's got some really cool stuff going on, and I would like to try to chase sub 20 in the future. Got that there for the 617, and that's how you know it's PS4 version. We got our publisher score. So anyway, hope y'all enjoyed. As mentioned, I've been playing this game for almost 7 years. Only picked up the speedrun recently, and now that it's available as an Arcade Archives download, I really like being able to utilize that to advertise it to players who would check these out in marathons. And some people may have even heard of the game, will get to see it for the first time. And that's the same thing I did with Haunted Castle at Summer Games 2024, and got the Dominus collection later that year, and that was really cool too. So anyway, this game is awesome. I really hope that it gets considered, and I hope y'all enjoyed watching it. Good music and all, good sprite work. It's a sweet game. I really enjoy it. Anyway, thank y'all so much. This is Elrock signing off.